for individuals who are living with mental health challenges themselves, and just as importantly, for family members, friends, and others who care about those individuals. All of our programs and services are available free of charge. There's some materials outside, a programs and services brochure, a postcard for our helpline, which is a great way to connect with us initially, and a postcard for our walk coming up on May 20th. We're throwing a NAMI Walks NYC and a Mental Health Street Fest at the Seaport on May 20th. So if you're around, we'd love to have you join us for that. Before we get into the panel discussion, I am going to read something written by Lori Gardner, whose film Remedial we just watched. She was unable to join us today, unfortunately. Throughout my childhood, I experienced a series of horrific traumas, and as a result, I developed PTSD and psychogenic sudden onset stuttering, which is caused by emotional trauma. My grades plummeted because I constantly zoned out thinking about the traumatic event, and without proper evaluation, I was misdiagnosed with ADHD and placed in special education classes for 6 years. In high school, after one of my teachers insisted that I did not have ADHD, I mustered up the courage to submit a petition to my school board requesting that they reconsider my diagnosis. Thankfully, they admitted they had made a mistake and released me shortly thereafter. Sadly, this issue isn't uncommon, and many children aren't as lucky. We hope this film flags up this overlooked social issue and creates dialogue and action towards normalizing conversations surrounding mental health and PTSD. Talking openly about mental health can reduce the misconceptions and stigma surrounding this topic and can encourage those who are suffering to seek help and find a support network. Thank you for watching and being part of our journey. Please follow us on Instagram at Remedial the Film for more updates. I'm sorry Lori wasn't able to be with us tonight. Before we even chat, I want to acknowledge and sort of recognize how many people beyond the people we saw in the film actually are involved in putting a short film together. It was extraordinary, the number of individuals. And I'm so glad that we have Zac with us tonight representing more of the behind the scenes. And I'm super excited to chat a little bit about how this story got told. But before we do that, I want to check in and just ask how you're doing. Afton, how are you today? How are you?
I'm really good.
Yeah?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm okay. I know that there are times when, we made the film a while back, and so I've had a little bit more time to process. Not that all days are good, but there are some people who will come up after and be like, "Are you okay?" Like, do you want a hug? And I'm like, I didn't just go through it. I promise. I know you're seeing it for the first time, but I actually helped edit this, so I've seen it a lot. It's always really funny, but I'm good. I'm doing great. I graduated, which was like huge. Thank you, because I dropped out of school when I was 14, 15, and so it was kind of like the greatest moment of my life to be able to say, I did this, and I'm smart enough to like get through school. So, yeah. And my husband wishes he could be here, and he says hi. So, yeah, I will.
Julie, how are you?
I was going to be honest and say I've been depressed all week, but I'm feeling really good today, and it's really nice being here. And it was nice to be able to tell Afton that I covet her husband, because I thought he was marvelous, and he asked one of the best questions, that where do you see yourself in 10 years if you're doing well? And I think I'm pretty sure that I'm the oldest person profiled in these movies at 66. And for all of us who have any of these issues, it doesn't get easier, but it gets better. I swear to you, it does.
Yeah, I love that hope. There is hope for recovery, for living well. I really appreciate that. Zac, how did you come to tell this story? Julie's
It's kind of a
extraordinary
long
story.
Julie's heard the story before. So I have a house in Greece, and a friend of mine who's a carpenter there, his great-great-grandfather is the first Greek man to swim from England to France, and he's also swum around Manhattan Island. He's done loads of big swims, and one day he wanted to try and swim from Scotland to Ireland, which is a bit nuts. And he managed to almost swim it, but on the way there, his heart stopped, but his arms kept on moving. And at the boat next door, they pulled him out of the water, cut open his chest, and pulled out his heart, and squeezed it, and he came back to life. This is a true story. He died, sadly, a few minutes later, but this is a true story. And once I heard that story, I was so fascinated by how some people can push themselves to such a level. So when I came to New York during my degree last year, to learn how to make a film, I looked up just local people in swimming, and got in contact with this guy called Ned, who put me in contact with Julie, and then the rest is history.
It's amazing. I love it. I wasn't sure whose idea it was, how it started.
Zac came to me, and it's interesting that he tells that story here, because we, as long-distance swimmers, one of our sayings to our crew is, "Don't pull me out unless I'm dead or unconscious." And because that's how committed
Well, he
we
was
are
definitely unconscious.
to finishing what it was we started.
And Julie, what was it like for you to decide to let Zac make this film with you?
I wrote a one-woman show. It's a very long story as to why I wrote it. I needed a single hour for my Actors Equity pension, so I decided I'd produce my own show. So I wrote the show, and it was the first time, and it was called Bipolar in the English Channel, and it was the first time I came out publicly and stood on a stage and told complete strangers that I had bipolar disorder. And I was, let's see, 2018 is 5 years ago, I was 61. Math is not my, my strongest suit. And I was like, what took me so long? It's very, very freeing. And then, and suddenly you're not ashamed, and you can tell the story, and you can have bad days, but you feel more committed to having mostly good days to say, yes, this can be done, and yes, you have the tools, and yes, you could. If I were doing really badly and in and out of the hospital, I don't think I would have done the show. But, but fortunately, I had 30 great years. And one of the things that we all have, because I know I'm talking to other people that share our diagnoses, support is everything. And you saw my dad. Dad died 10 years ago. He was old. He was 90 years old. He wasn't sick. He had a really good life. And I'm very grateful to Zac for immortalizing him. And he was there. He was on every swim. He came to everything. And we biked every mile across America together. And that kind of support network. And I also had, my psychiatrist told me that it's our 32nd anniversary on May 21st. Wow. That I found one psychiatrist who's that brilliant and can put up with me and is that good a support. And she's kept me out of the hospital a number of times. So all of those things are essential. You really can't do this alone. I mean, it's like a swim. You can't do it without support.
We talk a lot about how the power of telling our stories at NAMI NYC, and how when we find the comfort and ability to come out about our mental health experiences or diagnoses, it not only can be cathartic for us as individuals, but it can be incredibly impactful, giving other people permission to do the same. And Afton, I'm curious to hear from you what that journey, I mean, we saw, you said, we should make a film about this, but what was behind that, and can you kind of color in a little bit, maybe what that felt like?
Yeah, definitely. So I was in film school, and the pandemic happened. I was diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, and I knew I had to make a thesis film. And I was like, oh no, how is this gonna happen? And then I thought, well, I have access to myself. So is that crazy to talk about? Because also, you know, hyper focus is like the best, except that you don't pee or drink water enough. But, you know, it's like a wonderful thing because you learn so much, right? And I love researching. So all I could think about was ADHD and research, and I was like, I think I want to make a movie about this. And my husband was like, okay. So I pitched it, and the project got selected at USC, and we got funding to make it, and we did almost everything on Zoom, and it was quite a crazy time. I think people ask me if it was, you know, therapeutic but it's an interesting thing because I felt in a lot of ways like I was I'm good at distancing myself from my body, I think. I don't know if you can ever do that, but where you kind of just go, I can't feel this right now, so I'm gonna kind of disassociate. And I felt like I did that for a lot of it, and what has been very healing has actually been going around to places like this and seeing the reaction and meeting people like you and people who are making films about people like you and people who are telling their stories and women who will come up to me and be like, I didn't know, I went through the same exact thing when I was your age, or, you know, I just found out that I'm 20 years old and I found out that I have ADHD, and I was told that, oh, I'm just depressed and lazy and stupid and crazy and my whole life, and, you know, and the connection that has made, and it's helped me with my self-confidence, which is really nice. I'm very grateful. Yeah. So.
And Julie, you just mentioned we can't do it.
Kind of wish I'd said that. That was.
Mom, that's a good thing too. I wish I had said what you said.
Really good.
Mutual Admiration Society. So you mentioned we can't do it alone. And I think a theme, certainly at NAMI NYC, we talk a lot about the 1 in 5 of us who are living with mental health challenges, and the fact that the other 4 are our family members, our friends, our colleagues, our neighbors, our filmmakers. I'd love for each of you to talk a little bit about what the support of your family members has given you and has been like for you.
I love the question mostly because I'm really lucky, and I know I'm really lucky. Not everybody has a dad like mine. My mom, she's wonderful, she's brilliant, but she says the wrong things, and she worries too much, and I can't tell her when I feel bad because she would worry too much. And then I keep thinking of just in case, and it was so well scripted because those are the things you want to say. Help me understand. What can I do to help? And no judgment, and just being there, and her saying, this is what helps, this is what I need. It was kind of the positive scenario. Very few people get that. And that was my dad, except, well, my dad biked and was with other things. But, and that's the thing that's hard. And I think I tell other people when they're asking the wrong questions or volunteering things I don't need. And I've said to my mom, I can't tell you how many times, that's not what I need. That doesn't help me. That doesn't help me right now. I wish she'd follow up with, I'm sorry. My mom's great. I'm really ragging on her right now. We had a fight last week. But she doesn't follow up with what should I say or how can I help. She just kind of barrels through with what she is. And it's important because I'm sure a lot of people here don't have the kind of support that you got from your husband. Oh, those eyes. I know he's married. I know he's much too young for me. I could be his mother, I think. But when you have the positive, and I have a psychiatrist who is not arrogant, who we're a team, we collaborate. She's not telling me what to do. And that's huge, and it's very hard to find.
Very, very hard. And I think families, we were founded as a family organization, actually, and I think we're not born knowing how to successfully connect and communicate with people who are living with a mental health condition. And we, by default, say what we think we should say, do what we think we should do, and we're making it up as we go along, and often that results in tension and challenges. But we can learn, if we're open to it. Organizations like NAMI New York City and local NAMI affiliates throughout the country can help family members understand what to do instead, and not to change the person, but to change themselves, so that the interactions with the individual are more about getting on the same side and being a team. Can you talk, Afton, about the family support?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we saw my parents. They're incredible and wonderful humans, and I feel very grateful to have them. If anything, I think the thing I would caution against, which they would say, is they felt like they constantly had to protect me and not even overprotect, but almost over support in a way that was, I only thought that I could be good. My first career was musical theater, and I only thought that I could be good at that because there was no way that I could be a writer and have bad spelling, And I think my parents were so afraid that I would have rejection through, not being teased, and I had people call me crazy, or people say, oh, you're so stupid, you're such a ditzy blonde, or whatever those things are. I think they didn't want me to have that pain, and I think maybe that pain's okay, because eventually if you are vulnerable, you do find people that really, really accept you. And I'm finally realizing this. I think it's a lifelong journey of realizing that if you say, well, this is who I am. And I wear a necklace that says crazy because I was like, you know what? I'm taking the word back. I'm taking it back, and I'm not going to feel bad about it anymore. And if that's what people want to think, that's what they want to think. And so I think that's the thing that maybe they wish they had done differently. But I also think that, man, I'm the luckiest. And if you don't have that family, you can make your own family.
Indeed. And I know we're going to get to some questions from the audience. I want to ask Zac one very quick question before we do. Speaking of friends and family, sort of allyship, you started telling a swimming story, and you really were telling a story that had a lot of different aspects to it, including mental health. And I wonder, I don't know if you had any experience with mental health before, but clearly you must be an ally now. If you could speak to that for a minute.
My ex-girlfriend was also bipolar. So as someone who's actually dealt with that before, I know what questions to ask, what not to ask, and how to sort of be a presence in the room without being too overwhelming. And obviously I've also struggled a lot with depression and anxiety as well when I was younger. So all these things come into play and help you build a narrative and build a story. And this is especially important. When I was working with Julie, it's very difficult because when it comes to the ethical questions inside this, it's her story to tell. It's not my story to tell. And there's many things that she says in the film which are quite, they're hers, and they're quite a lot. So it's difficult for me to put that forward without it being too intense, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does, yeah. Well, you did a great job, I think, balancing.
Testing. I just wanted to compliment Zac because he did this almost single-handedly. He said something about all the credits and all the people in the movies before, and it was him. And it was during the pandemic, and he had support from colleagues, and he asked really good questions, and I don't know how I think he's very gifted. I just wanted to give a shout out to Zac.
Good job. It's hard to make a movie during the pandemic.
Okay, I think now we're going to take some questions from the audience. There's folks coming around with microphones.
Hi, thank you for these films. My question's for Julie. Hi, Julie. I was just wondering if you could speak to, because I know that you had something to do with being on the board and knowing what the movies were, that there were multiple movies in this program that had water as part of it, and how you felt either the first time seeing them all together or this time with the different play, and how water has been so key in your life, and how it had these different connotations in some of the other films. If you could speak to that.
That's a very complex question. And here I want to give a shout out to Ravit and Isaac and the whole ReelAbilities team. They are remarkable. And I've been watching their festival and enamored with their festival since their inception 15 years ago. And I only got involved as one of the lower tier people that watches like a couple hundred movies each year a few years ago. So I do see, we see a lot of really bad movies. And the really good ones, they really rise to the top. And hers jumped out at me when I saw it, because we do not get accurate movies that are good. Well, we don't get hardly any movies on ADHD. And an accurate one that's wonderfully told, and I love animation, is they're rarities. And Isaac and Ravit have a talent for putting things together. And out of the 300-400 movies that we got, the selection isn't just the best of the movies. They have to fit together, and they have to tell a whole. So fortunately, because I facilitate learning seminars for mental health professionals through movies, and I've been watching movies all my life and love them, watching them has been a huge lesson to me in how you put these things together. So as part of this, I knew what the schedule was going to be, but I thought it was a brilliant plan of theirs, and even the way they bookended bipolar, and they put they brought the arc up. So I don't know if I really answered your question, and I feel like that was very long-winded. Did that answer your question? Sort of. Okay. I mean, because I also
exactly
really wanted to thank them.
Yeah, it was not exactly the question that I asked, but it was a wonderful answer. So
It was perfect.
The question was more than 10 minutes ago, and I'm not really sure what it was anymore. Sorry.
1 second, wait for the microphone.
Thank you so much. Oh, hope you have a good day, guys. So, my advocate. My question for the film with the HD, and it's two films actually. Is for the advocate, like, how did you manage to like get the lighting? So, because I'm a filmmaker myself, graduate too, likewise too. Back then, how did you get the lighting, like with the film editing setup with Zoom? Because I know back in days, March with Zoom adequacy, I was like, okay, like how does the film integrate each other? And the other question, like, for the Madeline, how did the film, like, did they do like GoPro for the 360 degrees and other stuff and other stuff?
And I'll add on to that and maybe share a little bit. Both all films that we saw here were so beautiful and just so visual. Tell us a little bit about the technical process.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I feel very confident in all roles now, because I had people on Zoom telling me what to do with the sound and lighting setups, and Jesse and I were the only ones there usually, and we would run the camera and kind of figure everything out. So we just played with it. We kind of did, tested everything a little bit, had some tests beforehand, and but a lot of the time you just have to grab the camera and go. As far as the interviews go, we would film, because it's Zoom and it's hard to make engaging, we would film me, we would film their B-roll of other things, and that's kind of why we added the animation as well, so that it wouldn't get as tedious as maybe it could be. And then we used a green screen actually on which probably people who know visual effects stuff already know this, but you have a green screen on your laptop, and then you can, in post-production, you can put what you filmed of the Zoom call on the screen. So, is it like the filter, like squeegee filter, where you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yes. Look it up. You'll just, Google it. Obviously, I Google a lot of things. So it was really interesting. A lot of work in the post-production and a lot of days on Zoom with the two wonderful editors that I had, so, yeah.
You're on. Oh, I'm on? Oops. Sorry about that. I'm glad she said editing, because Zac shot a ton of film. And it's like the old spaghetti thing. You throw enough spaghetti against the wall, something's going to stick. And it's all in the editing. And then when I thought we were done, he would call and he'd ask, do you have any footage, archival footage? Can we just do one more shoot by the ocean? So he just kept shooting and shooting and shooting. And I didn't see the finished product until he showed it at school. And I was astonished by the masterful editing.
I mean, I think I had 6 hours of interviews for the first time I interviewed you. Then I had another 4 hours of interview, which I had to cut down to 15 minutes, plus an hour and a half of archival footage as well, plus 4 hours of B-roll. So it's a difficult process.
We've got one final question here.
Thank you. I'll try to be quick. So from both of your films, I feel like you came upon kind of like your diagnosis and coming to terms with it in adulthood or a stage in that. And trying not to be too nervous about this, but I recently had that experience too during COVID. And before that, I was like misdiagnosed as well. So what advice would you give to people trying to like navigate as an adult at like a random time, like coming to terms with the diagnosis? I think, what was I gonna say? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
I have an immediate response to that. Take as a strong thing that you got it as an adult and not as a child, because you have more years of experience and maturity and experience saying you're a good person, you're a solid person, you've probably finished high school, college, and look at all the things you've done, and those are your accomplishments, so you're starting in a much stronger place than someone who gets a diagnosis at 7 or 8 or 14. And they do say the later we're diagnosed, ironically, we do have a better prognosis because we lived well up until that. Well, actually, until you have your first psychotic break, not when you get your diagnosis. And my first true psychotic break wasn't until my 30s. So I already had all that stuff, and it really comes in handy, gotta say. So count the blessings of the maturity and the experiences is my advice. But I'm sure you have something.
Yeah, I mean, yes. You have resilience, and that's as much as I go, no, I'm not. I'm not resilient. I don't know. You know, you feel like you brush it off when it's you, but that is the thing that I see in other people is that you have a certain amount of resilience that you wouldn't have if you didn't have that. Also, I still have days. I've not had as many years maybe to get used to it. So I think part of me always has this feeling in the back of my head, I could have been a contender. You know, like I could have been great. Like I've wasted so many years, and you have all of these regrets, and it does not help you in any way. And the best thing I have learned to do is feel those feelings, go, yeah, that sucks, and I wish that was different. And now I'm gonna move forward because everything changes for good or bad. And that somehow that is comforting to me, that there's nothing that is more consistent than change. So, I don't know. Yeah, good luck. It's a long journey, and you got it.
I want to thank this amazing panel. I want to give a big thank you to Matt and to NAMI NYC for all of their amazing work and for being here and for leading this conversation. Julie might have sold herself short and actually gets the award every year for seeing more films than anyone else, which probably means she sees more films about disability than anyone in the world. So take that, swimming around Manhattan twice. This is the one you should be proud of. Folks, next up at 6:30, Pushing Boundaries. Please join us for that. And then, of course, later on tonight, our Saturday night feature film we're excited to have here, Straighten Up and Fly Right, at 8:45. Please join us for this and much more throughout the week. Share these with your friends. Let them know we're available virtual too. And we look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.